relate to the economic profitability of our farm. So that's why we had the pick your own apples, because that's an extremely fun thing to do in fall with your family, and it's delicious fruit. And then you can go eat your apples or eat the dairy products in the pavilion that we were going to construct, be it winter or with the roll down sides, or then in summer when the farm is at its peak.
One thing we also consider, especially with these enhancement projects, is the social aspect. We made sure that they would definitely consider the social aspect and bring, like the pavilion and the orchard, bring people into the farm, and so they could appreciate what the farm has for them, but also we could then teach them about the farm and various conservation measures, especially if there are other farmers that they can use on their farm. And also just the influx of people coming in for these new enhancement projects would stimulate business, especially for the creamery as well.
We chose to do the riparian buffer because it's, as we said, it's a great pollinator habitat, and it will increase your crop yield as well as your orchard, your apple productivity. And so it'll also, as well, help with mitigating stormwater runoff and nutrient overloading. So that's why we chose to do the riparian buffer.
Another consideration was you gave the option of creating moving the corn maze to a different location. However, we figured that this would, moving it to a larger field would decrease the amount of land that you have in agricultural production. And we're expanding the riparian buffer, but the Conservation Reserve Program will pay you for the land that you take out of agricultural production to put into conservation strategies.
Okay, this is a long one. In your decision, you had to weigh the political, social, economic, and environmental impacts of the different agricultural practices. Which one do you feel was the most and least important in your final decision, and why?
Okay, that's a pretty difficult question because they're all so interwoven and they have so many impacts on each other, each aspect of the plan. So basically, if you degrade the environment, you're going to see problems with your social and your economic, same with every other aspect. But with your specific options, because most of them were trying to increase your public outlook, I would say that the social aspect is probably the one we looked at the most. And then possibly because it's your farm, the political was less of a consideration.
How would you market the new enhancements on your farm, and who would be your target for these enhancements? So
as far as that question goes, we assumed since the farm has been going for several years that they would have a established website and probably some people who have been buying into the farm and like taking the produce, etc. So we would especially use the website and maybe periodically send out email blasts and encourage people to tell their friends and neighbors also what we have available for them on the farm. And in that way just increase awareness in the surrounding area and let people know what we have.
So our targets would be the customers of who come to buy us at the creamery, who utilize our dairy products, and also educating other farmers on the benefits of conservation measures.
We also want our farm to be transparent. We don't want to be doing anything that the public doesn't know about or doesn't approve of. So that is why we are going to try to have the riparian buffers to will also reduce the threat of toxic chemicals on our apples, and also by spraying before the pollen, the apple trees bloom, and then quite a bit after, that will beneficially affect the population of our pollinators, and then the beneficial pest predators that will reduce the impact of biological badness.
Last question. What other costs did you need to consider in implementing these enhancements to the farm?
So one cost, as it were, that we definitely took into consideration was the economic risks of our plan. And if one of the enhancement projects should fail or not work out as good as we thought. So in that aspect, we believe that our plan will help the farm enough, and the farm is already very diverse. It will further diversify the farm so that if one of the options didn't quite work out so well, the others would kind of help out and fluctuate.
Another cost that maybe isn't quite so high profile as the major costs that Vincent laid out is the cost of foregone income, which would be where we put the riparian buffer, and actually where the orchard is now is actually crop yield. And so that was definitely a consideration, and therefore we also did not, another reason we did not recommend that you move the corn maze to a bigger field.
No further questions, judges? Okay, give them a hand. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is team 1721, and their captain, Danya, will introduce their team.
Okay, my team is Asha, Vincent, Dylan, and Eva.
According to Rodale Institute, a diverse farm is a healthy farm. Good afternoon, owners of the Herbst family farm. As Conservation District planners, we are honored to discuss our recommendations for the future diversity of your farm. We are happy to know that you are already dedicated to conserving the land on your 376-acre farm through the implementation of several best management practices, such as riparian buffers, cover crops, crop rotations, and roof runoff systems. The creamery sales of your dairy products generated by the 170 Holstein cows has diversified your farm greatly. You have asked for our advice on several advancement options on your farm. In order to make a sound decision, we have carefully evaluated your farm and the impact the different options will have on the local environment, your farm's productivity, and the surrounding community. That's it.
Thank you, Eva. So you are considering moving your corn maze, adding a pick-your-own apple orchard, as well as erecting a new building, and possibly expanding the riparian buffers along the stream. Our first consideration is the natural and human resources that you can utilize on your farm through these enhancement projects. The dominant soil type on your farm is a Duffield silt loam. This is prime farmland and an excellent soil type for growing apples. While moving the corn maze may attract some future visitors, the increase would not be significant enough to justify its cost, as well as the foregone income from taking a larger field out of crop production. However, a pick-your-own apple orchard and building a pavilion or other structure will be investments that will pay off in the long term. Additionally, substantial financial assistance can be obtained for installing riparian buffers. Therefore, we recommend implementing the latter three projects while dropping your idea to move the corn maze, at least for the moment.
As Vincent pointed out, there are three major enhancements that we recommend implementing on your farm. The first priority would be to begin installing the apple orchard. This would include an initial soil assessment on the 3-acre red area designated on the map. We also recommend that you use dwarf species as they will produce faster and pay off the initial investment. According to Mr. Black of the Cocotson Mountain Orchard, the biggest problem with a pick-your-own apple orchard is the waste. This is because pickers will often drop the apples that they don't want on the floor. And therefore, we recommend you utilize these apples instead of letting them go to waste and make them into cider, which then can give you increased revenue if you sell them at your creamery or in your pavilion or events at the pavilion. A second strategy we recommend that you implement is expansion of your riparian buffers to 50 acres. This will allow you to utilize funding from the Conservation Reserve Program, and riparian buffers will give your pollinators on your farm habitat and provide especially good habitat for pest predators, enhancing the integrated pest and pollinator management on your farm.
A third major project we recommend for your farm will be the establishment of a pavilion or other building. This would be a 30 by 60 foot structure, complete with a cement floor and roll-down sides. In the summer, this could act as a normal pavilion, providing shade and a comfortable place for creamery customers to enjoy their dairy products or other fruits of the farm. However, as the growing season comes to an end and the days grow colder, the sides of the pavilion can be rolled down. Throughout the winter, or as long as it seems reasonable, the pavilion can remain heated by overhead radiating heaters and would remain open for any interest groups who would like to use it during the winter. This would extend the season the pavilion can be utilized and would also create a more diverse pool of income for the farm. Larger parties such as workshops and other groups could also use the pavilion for a certain fee and provide further income for the farm. Of course, all these three projects that we mentioned will have a certain environmental impact on the farm, which is now what Tasha and Dylan will discuss.
Thank you. As we evaluate and plan which enhancements would best fit your farm, we will take all the necessary steps to preserve the long-term health of the Hertz Farms soils, water, forests, and wildlife. For example, healthy soils play a fundamental role in stabilizing landscapes, as well as storing and cycling both water and nutrients. Since the apple orchard will be established on 3 to 8% slopes, erosion may be a problem. To prevent this problem, we will plant Kentucky 31 fescue grass in the aisles between the apple trees, while at the same time, the tree roots will help to stabilize the deep, well-drained soils. Another major natural resource concern is water quality. Riparian buffers reduce erosion into waterways, increase infiltration of stormwater, and prevent nutrients from leaching into waterways, causing eutrophication. The riparian buffers will consist of a mix of willow, poplar, and red maple, and provide habitat for native wildlife pollinators. In addition, riparian buffers provide critical shelter for aquatic insects and will help shade the stream, keeping water temperatures cool.
Here we go. A third important priority will be the preservation of forest habitat. Forests provide a myriad of benefits to the ecosystem. For example, trees help reduce greenhouse gases by sequestering atmospheric carbon dioxide and turning it into oxygen through the process of photosynthesis. In addition, planting trees will maintain forested corridors, mitigating the impacts of fragmentation on the ecosystem, which could reduce biodiversity and habitat structure. Finally, the management strategies that we have decided upon will support the Herbst Farm's beneficial wildlife. According to the National Wildlife Federation, wooded vegetation alongside agricultural land provides crucial pollinator habitat and provides important cover for beneficial pest predators. Protecting their habitats is paramount because without pollination, there would be no propagation. Moreover, providing an ecosystem for biological control agents will integrate our pest management and reduce the threat of harmful pesticides on your row crops and apples. With this in mind, the Herbst Farm will maintain its environmental integrity while being an economically viable farm, which Vince and Danya will now discuss.
Thank you, Dylan. According to the Nature Conservancy, a healthy environment is directly linked to healthy economics. Effective environmental stewardship does require financial investments, but well-managed resources in turn provide many goods and services that sustain long-term economic growth and stability. Therefore, economic viability is another important consideration for the enhancements we suggest for your farm. To begin with, we acknowledge that the projects we recommend for your farm will incur significant expenses that are beyond your current expenditures. For example, one of the largest costs for any of the projects will be establishing the 3-acre pick-your-own apple orchard. After we have determined that the proposed site for the orchard will allow for orchard sustainability, we will have to prepare the land, plant trees, and set up trellises and drip irrigation. According to Mr. Black, owner and operator of Catoctin Mountain Orchards, it costs about $8,000 per acre to plant the apple trees. Therefore, the orchard will cost around $24,000 to establish. In addition, we recommend setting about $5,000 aside for establishing and maintaining a 50-foot wide riparian strip along the stream edges. The pavilion we suggest building near the creamery will cost about at most $100,000. Therefore, we estimate total costs of around $200,000 invested in these enhancement projects.
Thank you, Vincent. Although these costs are considerable, the long-term benefit from these investments is far greater. Consider, for example, the on-site benefits for your farm. The apple orchard is a long-term investment that after 3 or 4 years will be in full production, inviting families from the locality to enjoy a fun family fall experience. An entrance fee will be required for customers who can then fill whatever size of bag they pay for. This will provide a steady income for 20 to 25 years. According to Cornell Cooperative Extension, riparian buffers reduce expenses associated with soil loss and flood damage. By expanding the riparian buffers, we will also be creating a soft edge, which is good habitat for wildlife and pollinators. It is known that native pollinators are more efficient in pollination than non-native. These pollinators will, of course, help the orchard to be more productive in years to come. These buffers will also be reducing the costs we may accrue with future floods and erosion problems along the stream. The pavilion will add to the aesthetic value of the farm by attracting customers and others to enjoy the beautiful farm landscape. This pavilion could then be reserved at cost, providing further income for your farm and increasing its popularity. Danya?
Thank you, Eva. Well, these are just some of the direct on-site benefits for your farm. The benefits of the riparian buffers are great, and to the local region. To fully appreciate the benefits, we must consider the question, what is the cost of doing nothing? The EPA currently estimates that it costs the United States $4.3 billion a year on drinking water treatment, aquatic species restoration, decreased recreation and tourism, and lower waterfront property values. This is especially a concern as we are in the Chesapeake Bay watershed. Therefore, by preserving stream quality, we can save millions of taxpayer dollars. Similarly, the Maryland Department of Natural Resources estimates that every dollar invested in open spaces generates up to $4 in tourism. In this way, we are putting thousands of dollars toward your local tourism, agritourism. To help cover at least some of the costs, the projects will approve, we will apply to Conservation Reserve Program to share some of the costs of the riparian buffers. On the state level, we can apply to the Maryland Department of Agriculture Agricultural Quality Cost Share Program run by the Maryland Department of Agriculture, who will cover up to 88% of expenses for implementing and sustaining conservation practices. The other projects, such as the orchard, will be a long-term investment that will pay off in the next few years. Through these strategies, our plan for your farm will be cost-effective and minimize costs, maximize benefits, and improve the economic viability of the Herbst farm. John?
As you continue to improve your farm, community support and involvement is crucial to the enhancement of your farm. To begin with, the Essex Farm Institute has found that partnerships with local farmers' interest groups are essential for success. Therefore, we encourage you to collaborate with local farmers to improve riparian buffers on their lands and implement other soil conservation and erosion control strategies. These measures will protect and improve their soils while reducing sedimentation and agricultural pollution downstream. In addition, representatives from your local NRCS and Soil and Water Conservation District offices can provide technical assistance as you consider planting trees on the riparian buffer. As district conservation planners, however, we recommend that you consider working with local universities to offer accredited internships on your farm. Not only will interns receive an on-site training in conservation practices and sustainable management of a farm, they are an additional source of labor while the apple orchard and riparian buffers are being installed. Additional volunteers assisting on the farm will create a sense of shared responsibility to care for the land. Asha?
Another sociocultural component of our plan is our community outreach program. To begin with, planting an apple orchard beside the highway will add to the beauty of the Maryland countryside and increase the aesthetic value of the farm, especially in spring and autumn when apple blossoms are all over. Excuse me, let me back up a minute. To begin with, planting an apple orchard beside the highway will add to the beauty of the Maryland countryside and increase the aesthetic value of the farm, especially in spring and autumn when apple boughs are laden with sweet-smelling blossoms or crispy mellow fruit. Another benefit of the apple orchard is the pick-your-own apple activity, which will be the main attraction of the orchard. Although we recommend that you charge a fee for entrance into the orchard, the picking of apples is a worthwhile family activity that will encourage community pride. In addition, the Pick Your Own Apple Orchard will be a site where local school groups could come for field trips in October when the trees are most productive. This would also be an opportunity to educate school groups on the importance of environmental conservation. Another way to promote the farm and maintain transparency is to regularly update your customers via your farm website. This will keep the local community updated on the success of your conservation strategies and farm production. An important benefit of the pavilion is that it can be a gathering place for local farmers, stakeholders, and other interest groups. For example, you could host a farmers' potluck dinner for neighboring farmers and stakeholders. Since blue crab dinners are considered a social event in Maryland, and food always draws people together, part of this potluck could be a crab dinner in true Maryland style. In addition, meetings with conservationists, concerned neighbors, or other interest groups at the pavilion will promote interactions with those who have opposing ideas. These discussion meetings could be chances for farmers or interest groups to air their feelings and concerns, problems, and new ideas could be addressed. At the pavilion, you could also install a barbecue setup and then make it possible for people to reserve the pavilion and use it for birthday parties or weddings in a scenic farm environment. In addition, the pavilion could have picnic areas for local family picnics and other events. Therefore, through collaboration, education, and outreach into the local community, you will expand your customer base. Ultimately, your farm will become an educational showpiece that models sustainable farming practices and preserves and promotes the agricultural heritage of Washington County. Well, thank you, Tasha. You know, ardent agrarian Thomas Jefferson once said that cultivators of the earth contribute most to the real wealth and prosperity of our nation. However, he also learned that each generation must exhibit good stewardship of the earth and must not contract debts beyond what they can pay in the course of their own existence. In summary, our committee has recommended 3 enhancement projects for you to implement on your farm while protecting the environment and ensuring your farm's economic viability. If you invest in our enhancement objectives, they will develop your farm's resources for the benefit of our region's environment, economy, and community. Thank you for your time.
Question number 1, if you guys could have had one more piece of information to help you, what would it have been?
We would have liked to know what the farm's budget was, because in the oral presentation material, it didn't say how much money the farm is making per year, and we'd have liked to have known that, when we're deciding what management strategies we would like to implement.
That would also enable us to really utilize your resources to the absolute maximum and really made us be able to prioritize our decisions in a way that we could not to.
Question 2. What were some of the other alternatives that you considered in making your decision, and how did these alternatives shape your final decision?
Well, we looked at what would benefit the farm the most, economically and socially. Socially, being able to directly